Okay. So now, here we have our web page, and we can see, oh, well, I like this, but wouldn't it be nice if this text here, the shoes, could be centered? Wouldn't that be great if we could do that? Yeah, okay, well, so what we're going to do now is we're going to create another div tag, and we're going to call it text, and we're going to copy and paste, put that here, and copy cut. So now what we're going to do is I've created a new div tag, and I called it text, and it's going to surround and modify the display of our text in each one of these boxes. And okay, so first thing we can do now, is we have class text, and what we will do, well, first let's do this. Let's make these a little wider, 120 pixels, and let's see here, maybe okay. So what we're going to do is, first of all, what I do is this. You're going to need this in the future. So what I want to do is I want to look at which one of these text items is the widest. And so here I can basically estimate, all right, this one, this automobile one, I'm going to refresh it, it's a little wider, is the widest. But I want to be able to estimate, well, essentially what we need is we need some kind of tool so that we can graphically measure things a little bit, sort of like a carpenter has his tools for that. And there is a particular tool that I use that's absolutely outstanding. You can just estimate it by looking at these things, because we're going to put margins on the left and right, and we're going to do it in a way that as I do it, you'll see what I mean. I recommend, because what I want to do is, well, let me first show you this tool. I have a tool where I can take it, and if I want to get a big general sense of how wide this is, I can go along here and I can see, all right, that's about 83 pixels. All right. Why don't we just call it 85, or let's just call it 85 to be on the safe side. I don't want to save it. This is essentially like a graphic, I guess you can call it it's kind of like a screenshot tool, but it also gives you those crosshairs where you can really quite precisely estimate the sizes of things, but it's really terrific. It's by, I don't know if you know this, but I live in China, and this is created by a Chinese company called Tencent, QQ. It's absolutely a huge company. It's totally for free. You can get it on the App Store. And for Macintosh, it's totally awesome. This is a huge company, right? There's 700 million users, 700 million users of the Chinese WeChat application. And again, you can use your own, you can estimate it, but I like to use that. That software has so many different applications that you can do. Let me just give you a quick. I could take this, I could take a screenshot of that, I can add in text quickly. Really, it's just outstanding the things you can do with it. But at any rate, okay. So here we are back again. And I noticed that this was about 85 pixels wide, right? Now maybe you could look at this thing and say, well, it's 120, so let's just guess at 100, whatever. You know, it's not that important. But we are going to need to, well, you'll see. Okay, all right. So we're going to give this div a width of 85 pixels. Now we're going to assign some margins, and we're going to do margin right, and we're going to assign automatic, and we're going to do margin left, it's automatic. And then what we want to do something else. We want to, you see here, naturally what happens with this text right here is, okay, here we have what shows up on the screen as our box, right? And we've now set this to 85 pixels, right? So maybe that goes from about here to about there, whatever. But the text inside will naturally flow to the left of that. So we don't want that. This div text, this particular tag here called text is going to be 85 pixels wide. But the shoes part, our text here, is not 85 pixels wide, and it doesn't align in the center of that naturally. So what we do is we do this. We say text align center. Okay? And so, okay, well, let's take a look. What do we have here? Okay, bam. So now it's in the center. Because as you can see, you can't see it right now, but going from about this point right there to about over to here is actually how wide that div is. The div that we specified here as class text. This sucker right here, it's about 85 pixels wide. But now what we've done, and we have an auto margin on the right over here, and we have an auto margin on the left over here, so it naturally will put that in the center of this orange box, our orange box. And then we aligned within that our text. Okay? Now the next part relates to getting our lining up the text vertically. So on this, okay, on this, well, first of all, I don't want to retype all of that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste in. I'm going to copy and paste in some different things here so that I don't have to retype all of that. Just a moment. So now you can see I've got a, I did this before I made the video, I've got a new text class div for each one of those things. And now what we're going to do is, all right, well, what do we know? Now here's the thing about this. There is more than one way to center these things here. There's more than one way to, vertically center them. And you know, this particular way, it may seem like a hack, but really it's pretty much the best way. The other ways, they always seem like they create problems. So I'm just going to do it, I guess you could say, the easy way. All right, so what I do is, what do we know here? We know that those boxes there have a height of 60, right? And so what's half of 60? 30. Okay? So let's do this. Let's just give these let's just pick 25 pixels. Let's give those text boxes a height of 25. And what we can do is we can just look and kind of play it by ear. What we can now do is we can give them a margin at the top of, let's try 20 pixels and see how that looks. Okay, and let's take a quick look here. All right, that works out pretty well. Is it exact? No, it's not. See, here's the reason why this is the best way to do it. We don't know. Different fonts have different pixel heights. Again, I'll say it again. If I change the font of this, due to typesetting considerations and reasons internal to the typesetting found inside of fonts, they will have a different, the number of pixels high each letter will depend. If I changed it to Verdana or this font or that font, it's going to be different. So that's why this is really the best method. All right, you just, okay, here I've got this particular font. I've chosen, well, I haven't chosen it, I just took whatever font. But what you're going to need to do is see how big your lettering is. See how big these letters end up being. And then if you need to jockey it a little bit, like maybe I say, all right, well, let's make the margin top 30. And let's see what happens there. And it bumps down. Nah, I can see that that's not quite going to do it. Let's change that back to 20. Maybe put it to 22. And you know, this is the quick and dirty, probably the most practical way of doing it. Now, again, you could use one of those snip tools to go and test here, and just, if you don't trust yourself to have the right, okay, now I can see the heights. I've got about 26 there. Cancel. And I could go here. Okay, right, just like a craftsman. Okay, we use our tools, and I've got 24. Okay, I could adjust it if I really wanted to there. But it's really, okay, for our purposes, that's close enough. Okay, now, if you were to have a graphic here, obviously with a graphic, right, an image file, you can see exactly how wide it is, and you can plan that in advance. And so this won't really come up there. But for practical purposes, although you may not like the way, you may think, oh, well, that shouldn't be the way we do it, but it is. And it is a really good way to do it. Okay.